I was wrong about Killers of the Flower Moon. There, I said it. I got it wrong this time, guys. I had more time to process the film, and my opinion on it has completely changed from the time I made my review. When I made this review, I think I came out of the theater and had a really good time with the movie, and it wasn't really because of the film. I had been in Maine to visit. We went to this Nickelodeon theater that was super cool, and just the time period mixed with the vintage theater we were in, it all came together and provided a really cool experience for me and my fiance. But looking back at this film, there are some major issues with it. And just as a warning, as we go forward, there will be spoilers. So keep that in mind. If you don't want any spoilers, leave this video, come back after you've seen it. But if you don't care, keep watching. The biggest issue I had with the film that I only later realized what it was the fact that the mystery was solved way too early into the movie. About 30 minutes in, you know exactly who did the killings. You know that Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro are the ones behind everything. And although it's implied, it's basically a fact. I think about an hour in, you see Leo doing some serious criminal things, robbing people, killing witnesses, or killing the investigators that are trying to figure this crime out. It felt like the movie blew it way too early, and then the rest of the time you're like, okay, I know exactly what's going on, so what's the point of watching for the next 2.5 hours? I just thought that was a really odd choice, and the more I've had time to process that, the more I realize that that is a major flaw with the movie, and what could have been a much better movie ended up being a massive disappointment. And in my review, I mentioned great performances, and obviously there's going to be some Oscar nominations for this movie. There's no doubt about that. And that's part of the issue I have with my own review, is the fact that I think I fanboyed a little bit. I'm super excited for any new Martin Scorsese movie, so when this came out, I'm so ready for it. I'm so ready for it to be really good. But in all fairness, it's not a great film. It has some other major flaws. What I'm really upset with myself about is that I also didn't mention the fact that it ended super flat. You're waiting for something else to happen. Like I said, we know the mystery and the solution to the whole mystery in the very beginning. And then we finally get to the trial, and when everything comes crumbling down, and they basically just end the movie. And Martin Scorsese comes out and just tells us exactly what happened. Looking back, it's so goofy. It's like the dumbest ending to a movie ever. And the theater that I was in, I felt like a lot of people were really disappointed by the ending. And again, at the time, I think I was too. I just hadn't processed why yet. So that's kind of why I'm making this follow-up video, because moments like the ending and the beginning, which are pretty important for a movie, are so highly flawed that if any other director made this film, I highly doubt it would be getting the praise that it's getting. And of course, people are going to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score and say 93% of critics liked it, 85% of the audience liked it, and this little what to know points out the really great things about the movie. These are all things I praised it for as well, but it doesn't talk about any of the glaring issues with the movie. And I hate to say it, but I really believe Rotten Tomatoes scores mean absolutely nothing. If we look up The Force Awakens, look at this, 93% on this movie. Seriously, this is a terrible movie. Everything about it is terrible. And I know there was a lot of fanboying at the time when this came out, which is why there's an 85% rating here from audience as well, which is super cringy because I think a lot of people would go back and change that rating now. But I'm basically calling myself out here because I did the exact same thing with Killers of the Flower Moon. I think I walked out, I got Force Awakenized, and I gave it a really high review. I pointed out some issues with pacing, but I was kind of just enamored with the film. And looking back now and using my non-monkey brain for a second, I realized, yeah, it's kind of like Force Awakens. If it was any other director, or in this case, any other IP, no one would like the film. It was a terrible movie. It really was. It was super long. It had terrible pacing. The ending was horribly done. It fell so flat. And the mystery was blown in the first 30 minutes. A total missed opportunity because the other parts of the movie are fantastic. The performances, the way the indigenous peoples are represented in this movie, storyline and true crime, basically, that I knew nothing about, and I think most people knew nothing about. But anyway, I just wanted to apologize for being totally wrong on the movie, missing the mark completely, and I just wanted to make a follow-up video to give you my final thoughts, my processed non-monkey brain thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon. Let me know in the comments, do you agree with me? Do you agree with my initial review more? I mean, how do you feel about this movie? Because I think it's going to be a little bit polarizing. As you can see from the reviews online, it's like a perfect movie almost. But a lot of people I've talked to have said otherwise as well. So I want to know from you guys what you really think about it. Anyway, take care, guys. See ya.